without a shadow of a doubt that you're created on purpose for a purpose. Mindset and money revolution. You have to have a mindset revolution to experience a money revolution. That's when you experience a true wealth revolution.
My name is Chad Free. Welcome to the Wealth Revolution Podcast. Welcome back to the Wealth Revolution Podcast. My name is Chad Free. It's always awesome to be here with you. For those who listening today, I think this is going to be a good one because it makes us think. It makes us think, guys. Let me ask you a question. You ever feel like you're on the struggle bus? Like, man, you just don't have the energy to go. You kind of feel like you're not going anywhere. That's what this is about today. So I hope that we can break down some things to get you thinking why you might be on that struggle bus. So let's talk about it. And literally, we're going to talk about a bus at the end. So in life, we are all going somewhere, right? When we hit adulthood, we're all out on our own journey. And I always like to talk about, look, we're at A right now and we're trying to get to B. Some people have never even thought about their B. So we're all going somewhere, but sometimes people don't even know where that somewhere is. We might be going round and round in circles, right? So I hope that this episode really helps you think and do some introspection on where you are going. And are you in control of where you're going? So let's talk about that. Let's unpack it. You know, I like to think about, again, where today we're going to be. And I want to remind you that there are four parts of our nature: our mind, our body, our heart, and our spirit. That's number one. I want you to really, really understand that. And for the most part, a lot of people get started in their career, their journey, what have you, and they rely on their knowledge and their skill. And they try to read, they try to practice their skill. And, you know, when a deal goes bad, they fall down on their face and they start thinking, well, I just didn't, if I would have known to say this, or if I would have thought to say this, or if I would have done better in the approach. It's all about their mind and their body, their knowledge and their skill. They put everything on that. And so they beat themselves up, right? But what happens is they forget about what I believe is the most important part, or two parts of their nature, and that's their spirit and their heart. You see, you hear me say a lot that I believe you're created on purpose for a purpose. Now, that is a statement and a belief statement that comes from my spirit. I believe way down deep in my spirit, it gives me confidence because confidence comes from the spirit that I'm on a mission and that I truly, truly, truly have a purpose. So if something happens to me and I fall down, I get right back up because I know that I'm on a mission and I understand that I'm not going to get everything right. All right. And when you operate from that spirit of confidence, it feeds the desire in your heart to continue to try to be better and better and better. You thirst then for that knowledge, always learning. And then you got the can't stop, won't stop. So automatically your skills are huge because you're always doing this. But if you just rely on your knowledge and your skills, then you don't have the rebound. You don't have the bounce back. You don't have the grit. Sometimes the energy runs out because you're depending on your knowledge and skill. Hopefully that makes sense. So what I feel like is that alignment, number one, needs to be in order, but there needs to be alignment, period. So let's think about that. Just like a vehicle, and we'll get to the bus in just a minute, but like a vehicle. If you have a Lamborghini or a Corvette, right? That's a fast car. That's the first thing you think about. Fast, 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 fast. But let me ask you something. If it has a flat tire, can it still go? Yes, it can. It's not going to go as fast. And there's probably going to be damage done if you ignore it. You'll make it go, but you're going to tear some things up along the way. Let's say that you have any kind of car and you're not mechanically inclined and you're not in tuned with, and you're not aware of these things, and it's pulling to the right a bit. Well, if you ignore that and you continue to have the little tension, to the left to keep it straight, it's going to begin to wear down a tire. Eventually, that tire can actually blow out and tear things up, maybe cause a wreck. You might end up in the ditch. So think about the four tires as the four parts of your nature. We have to be conscious of all four parts of our nature. We have to be. We have to pay attention to that. Okay? So that's the first thing. Now, when I'm talking about the struggle bus, I talked about alignment. I talked about making sure that we're staying conscious of all four parts of our nature. Something else that we have to be very aware of is our relationships. Who are we surrounding ourselves with? Who are, just because somebody's in your circle, I say this a lot too, they might not be the right person or people that needs to be in your corner. When you discover your mission or you have a dream, you allow yourself to dream again, you realize that you have a purpose in life, and you start out to pursue that purpose, you got to make sure you got the right people in your corner that are going to encourage you, support you, pray for you, hold you accountable. People that are always pulling you up, not somebody that's pulling you down. My oldest son said this one time: hate comes from the bottom up or from those who are behind you. Think about that. Hate comes from the bottom up or for those who are behind you. So think about your relationships. You don't have to get rid of these people, but understand how close you allow them into your life and what you talk about around them. Sometimes people just want to talk about other people. Then you got the next level, they want to talk about big things. And then the next level of people, how can we create? How can we go out and do this together? So make sure you know your people, know who you are associating with and who you are surrounding yourself with. Now, let's go back to the struggle bus. Let's literally talk about this struggle bus. I bet you didn't know that you had a bus. Number one, let me make sure that you understand that. I was talking to Caden before we got started with this, and I'm like, man, did you know that you're on a bus? Did you know we have our own bus? We have our own bus. When we start out in this life, in adulthood, we actually have a bus. Now, we are driving that bus. Sometimes we know where we're driving it to. Sometimes we have no clue. And again, I hope this episode can help you dial that in. But with that bus, we have the four tires that we talked about. And we also have relationships and people on that bus from our past. Now, this is where it gets good, guys. It might not be people, it could be things that have happened to us in the past, good, bad, and ugly. It could be situations that we have on that bus that we're carrying with us. If we've never taken inventory on who's on our bus, what's on our bus, sometimes we don't even know if we're driving our own bus. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's say that you come to a stop sign and someone of influence that has had big time influence in your life, maybe they're on that first row behind you. And let's say that your spirit is telling you at that crossroads, hey, you need to go right. You need to go right. But then you have that influential person, or maybe even a situation that's tapping you on the shoulder saying, we never go right here. You know, we always go left. We always go left right here. So we go with the flow. We're letting somebody else dictate where we go. You see, we have our own life to live. We're not in a race with anybody. We have our own race. We are not trying to please anybody. We are responsible for our own life and our own race and our own journey. We're held accountable for that. If we're consumed with going in a direction that somebody has had influence in our life to not rock the boat or do what they say do, we're missing out on potential blessings and opportunities that could be for us. So let's talk about that. Sometimes we allow that person to drive our bus. Sometimes we allow that person or place, or not place, a situation, event that's happened to us to dictate which directions we go in. So I want you to think about that, number one, and then I want to challenge you. Maybe this is a loved one. And you're like, well, I can't kick them off my bus. I've got great news for you. I want to let you know that it's your bus, so you don't have to kick them off the bus. You can take them to the back of the bus and you can sit them on the back row. And you know what else you can do? You can tell them there's no talking on this bus, right? It's your bus, but you've got to take control of it. You are responsible for the bus. So maybe there are some people that you need to move to the back of the bus. Maybe there's some people you need to put on the bottom of the bus. Maybe there's some folks that you need to kick off the bus. And it's okay to do that because you are called on purpose for a purpose. And you've got to be your best self. And you've got to follow where God is leading you. So I also was telling Caden earlier, we're so used to the GPS. You know, God, he don't use GPS. We have to keep our eyes on him, where he's leading us. So we have to be aware of where we're going. You see, I got my shirt on, wake up. A lot of people need to wake up. See, you done learned a lot today. You didn't know you was asleep. You sure didn't know that you was on a bus, right? But I really want you to take inventory of who's on your bus and what's on your bus. Because if you ignore the tires, remember the alignment, if you ignore maybe one's flat and we end up having a wreck, sometimes our heart has to break for our eyes to be opened. And then we take inventory. Maybe we all get tossed off the bus, and now you're being very particular about who you allow back on your bus. So this has been a very short episode, but I hope it's been impactful because you are on a bus. You are going somewhere. Maybe you know where you're going. Maybe you don't know where you're going. But you are responsible. And you can't allow past events, people to dictate where you go. You're held accountable for that. And so I want to challenge you. Number one, make sure your 4 tires are all pumped up, right? Make sure that your alignment is right. When your alignment is right, your assignment becomes very, very clear. You kind of know where you're going. It can change, but you know the direction that you're going in is the direction you're supposed to be going in. And then I would challenge you, make sure that your spirit And your heart are the tires and the wheels in the back, because that's where the power comes from. When you operate from the Spirit, man, you've got unlimited power. You have unlimited power. And you just got to take your knowledge and skill to steer it. So maybe you're in a profession or an occupation that you've been told that you're good at, but maybe that's not the occupation that you were called to be in. Maybe you can step it up in that occupation and put some heart and spirit behind it. Sometimes we can't see the picture when we're stuck inside the frame. That's what my coach used to always say. So again, I hope that through listening to this episode, this has woke you up just a little bit. This has made you aware of the bus that you're supposed to be driving. And when you are on that struggle bus, check out who's on your bus and make sure that all four tires and your alignment is right. And that's all today. You can be on the struggle bus or the abundant bus, but you have the power to take control. Thank you. And until next time, God bless you.